Welcome to In the Hot Seat with the Tenney Group. I'm Spencer Tenney. It's good to be with you. A special client edition of the Hot Seat coming right at you right now with our very own Jay Maxwell, former owner of Standard Freight. Jay, welcome to the Hot Seat.
Spencer, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. We're going to heat things up in just a little bit, but tell us about the transportation logistics company that you recently transferred ownership of.
Like you said, Standard Freight. We were, or yeah, we're a freight brokerage company specializing in heavy haul transportation. Uh, we focus primarily on pipeline construction and heavy equipment dealerships.
I love it. I love it. So let's back up. How did you even get into this business? Because I know you've got a lot of things go on. How did you find yourself in the logistics business?
Yeah. My partner and I had a friend who actually drove a heavy haul truck way back when, and he kind of explained the business to us. He said, "Oh, that actually we were looking at like a per mile cost and so forth." And we thought, that kind of pencils out. And so we jumped in head first, not knowing a thing. We actually started buying truck and trailer. We built up to two, then three, and then realized we could scale much quicker if instead we brokered it all out instead of hauling it ourselves. So after a year, we transitioned over to become a full brokerage, and it was off to the races from there. That was in 2013, 2014.
Off to the races indeed. So just for a little context, at the time of exit, about how much revenue was did the brokerage operation comprise of?
We were averaging about 12 at that point. We
Okay.
Yeah, 15, 17. We ran it out about 12.
Well, it's a great story and rapid growth. I don't. It's not something that you necessarily dreamed of, but you got in there and you made some stuff happen. It's a great story. So part of that was kind of taking some lumps along the way and learning some lessons about building value. So what were some of the things that you learned as you kind of fell into this business that helped you ultimately sell the company? But they were challenging along the way.
Sure. No, definitely our fair share of challenges. We experienced bankruptcy by our largest company several years back. And of course, just general growing pains with a startup. Kind of the cart before the horse. Do you
Mm-hmm.
invest before you grow, or do you grow before you invest? And so it was always a struggle in terms of onboarding team members and trying to ramp up sales, investing in new software systems and so forth. So it was a roller coaster for sure. And fortunately, we somehow found our way through it to the other side, and we're able to position ourselves to carry it forward.
I love that. So what were the factors for you and Case, your partner, that led to, hey, maybe it's time for us to consider making a change?
Yeah, I'd say after about year five, we felt like we were starting to hit a ceiling in terms of our ability with this ramp up. I was explaining in terms of trying to get into diversifying our customer base or industries, and so we felt like maybe the best solution was to hand it off to a more capable operator and help them carry it forward in the best interest of the company, our employees, and that's kind of how we came to that conclusion.
And just for everyone else who's watching this, their benefit, like this wasn't the only thing that you were working on at the time. So you had some other businesses that were requiring your attention as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it as well. Case and I both had respective family businesses that we were involved in, and they were continuing to ask more of our time, and so that was definitely a big factor. And of course, just being entrepreneurs, we were always looking for the next opportunity. But
I
yeah,
love
the
that.
family business definitely had a big part to do with it as well.
So how was what was the process of going about selecting an M&A advisor to help you facilitate a
Yeah,
deal?
our story is probably a little unique. We first engaged with you guys um, uh, with the recommendation of Transportation Accounting Group back in 2019, I think late 18, early 19, and you guys set us up, and we started kicking some tires. Got some interest, but I'd say along the way learned that we might not have been quite as prepared as we should have been, and it was a great learning lesson. Um, we were able to um, you know see kind of the holes in what we had. Um, we also were going through a management software transition, and so we decided it was smart to see that through. Um, we hired a controller to tighten things up. So there were a ton of value adds along the way that we learned would help us at the end of the day. And we implemented some systems and processes, some automations that help with billing, and just helped us become much more efficient and ultimately more profitable. So once we got all that in place, we came back in early 2021 with you guys, and it was a much smoother, seamless process at that point. Expectations were well understood, and and it was a great experience.
Well, it was great that you all had enough time and some runway to kind of reset and go make some changes, because certainly it was a different business when you came back, and obviously the market responded accordingly. So I remember, some comments when we got done with the process after you had reflected on it, that that there was a way that you envisioned the process in terms of maybe its difficulty or lack thereof, and then what you actually experienced. Um, that I think is probably pretty helpful. It's kind of universal. Like, until you've gone through the process, it's very difficult to appreciate what it all entails. So, what were some of the things along the way that you're like, wow, this is much more intense than what I thought it was
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to be?
It is an absolute roller coaster. Yeah, we joked several times before. At the beginning, uh, we felt like we had heartburn over the Tenney fee. Uh, but at the end of the day, once it was all said and done, we said we would gladly pay 2-3 times that. Because there's just so much to it, a ton of nuance, and for a business owner, it's something that you never experienced really before, and you may never experience again. And so, with you guys' expertise and experience, it's incredibly helpful. It is an absolute roller coaster, very stressful transaction, and with us in particular, there were a handful of really unique challenges in terms of the entity structures and how that trades, and so to have you guys and then to direct us to the professionals that yeah, could help us with whatever need it was. It was incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and to be fair, the team at Scopolitas did an excellent job of um, stepping in where we needed them to, and so great team over there.
Absolutely.
So let me kind of transition to this next chapter. I mean, because you're quite a bit younger than our typical business owner, not necessarily in the brokerage space, but in transportation in general. So um, you're kind of a serial entrepreneur, done a lot of different things. What are you working on right now? Tell us about what this next chapter might entail for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, Case and I, we both have a hand in our respective family businesses. So that takes a decent amount of our time and bandwidth. But additionally, yeah, for a few years we've been doing some real estate investing in various ventures. So we have a particular interest in farm and ranch properties. So um, whether it be investing in the land itself, or running cattle, or we flirted with a chicken operation. Fortunately, that didn't end up happening. But yeah, we're always looking for the next opportunity, uh, and love love some deal flow.
So we'll save that story for another time. But the short version, the cliff notes is when you're buying property, make sure it doesn't come with 100,000 chickens with it,
That's right. That's right.
because
Especially
that's
if
not a small
you don't
thing.
have the first clue as to how to operate it. Yeah.
That's right. So there's so many transportation business owners in our network and logistics business owners that the main question is just like how do you know? How do you know when you're ready to make a change? What advice would you give to folks that are asking that question?
That's a tough one because it's probably different for everyone. Um, like I said, we felt like we kept hitting that ceiling in terms of growth. Um, we had an incredible team. They were very capable and very talented, and we saw a lot more potential there, but maybe potential that we couldn't help come to be. So um, that's what made it apparent for us to look to hand it off to that more capable operator. So more than that, I can't really say.
Well, I think another question that's related has to do a lot of transportation business owners. It's they're not excited about exiting. It's kind of like they don't exit until they have to. And unfortunately, a lot of those folks don't have the luxury that you did, which is the time and the energy and the interest and the opportunity to back up, make some changes, and then go do it. So, to that end, what advice would you give to both brokerage operations, asset heavy operations, those that are considering a sale when it comes to preparation? What are the key things that you would suggest they focus on?
Yeah, yeah. Make sure you're well documented. Yeah, your books are tight and in place. That your team, your upper management team, is able to carry the operation forward, I suppose. Um, and just even in terms of expectations of what you think you'll trade at. I know the first time around, our expectations might have been a little out of line, and so that was tough to swallow. But when we came back around, we knew exactly what to expect. Um, yeah,
No, I think that's great, and I really appreciate you sharing that because I think that will be very helpful. So, a couple last things. So, um, what do you see for yourself next 5 to 10 years? You're an entrepreneur. What's something that you're excited about?
that's a great question. I wake up and ask myself that every day. Um, I've been really eager to get involved in the community, and that may sound cliche, but with investments here, there, and everywhere, I'm really eager. We actually just moved to College Station, and so I'm eager to get involved and steward our capital well, but have impact within the community and serve however I can. And so that's kind of front and center for me. And I hope over the years to come that something comes of that.
Man, I love that you care about that, Jay. That's awesome. All right, one last little wild card question here. Now, this is really serious. So earlier this year, you and Case joined the Tenney Group in an all-out battle on the paintball field at our 2022 kickoff meeting, and let the record show that I don't know if you're responsible for this, but one of my employees went down with a broken foot. I don't know if you had anything to do with that, Jay, or not. You were taking out some pent up aggression from the experience or whatever. Either way, your team won, if I remember correctly. So, for those of our industry friends that are using paintball as a team building event, what advice would you give to them? How do you win? What's the strategy out there on the paintball field?
Well, the first and foremost advice I would give is to do it in warm weather. because it was, if I recall correctly, it was below freezing, and it was brutal. Those paintballs hit a little harder in the cold. Uh,
That's true.
so that would be my first recommendation. Uh, yeah. Otherwise, take cover and be quick on the trigger. It was a
I love it.
blast. It was great to be able to come back and spend some time with you guys and get to know the team face to face. So we were really thankful for that, and yeah, grateful to make the trip up.
Well, we're grateful for you and for the opportunity to serve you and your families. We're going to leave it right there, sir. When it comes to your future community impact, whatever the next step is, we hope to be a continued part of that story, man. Well, thanks for being here. That's going to do it for us in the hot seat. We'll see you next time.